Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to JNUC 2025. This is the K-12 State of the Union. The theme for today and the whole week is Elevate. Elevate is more than just a theme. We are talking about a calling to elevate expectations, opportunities, and outcomes, and opportunities especially for those in our schools and teams supporting them. Last year, we talked about purposeful deployment as a framework that really helps individuals and schools achieve their desired outcomes. It goes beyond a checklist-driven model to a partnership model that brings curriculum and instruction closer together. We also challenge the notion that good enough is never good enough, not for us, not for the students, and not for the teams supporting them. I want to share an experience that I had recently that really cemented this in my head. I had the opportunity to sit down with the principal of a school. Her name is Marissa, and we started talking about the priorities she had lined up for the year. And she mentioned she was very keen to get one-to-one deployment of iPad across her entire school. I asked her the why behind that decision, and she mentioned that hands-on, personalized learning experience is really what prepares students for the future. She also assembled a very cross-functional team around the table. It included the curriculum lead, the STEM specialist, and the IT director, and they envisioned what teaching and learning experience really needs to look like. They imagined that through the lens of the teaching and learning outcome they wanted to achieve. They've started deploying it, and they've done that in 2 weeks across their first grade STEM lab, and it became very evident that this is way more about just managing devices. This is about bringing together a framework that has teaching and learning at the heart of it. I am sure it is purpose that has drawn all of you to support schools globally, and it is purpose that gives everything that we do here at Jamf meaning. Now, purposeful deployment isn't easy to achieve. Oftentimes, you are faced with a siloed model. You have curriculum, IT, and instruction. We are having to work together, and when decisions are made in silos, the cracks eventually appear. But instead, imagine a collaborative model, much like what Marissa modeled in her school, with the teaching and learning experience at the heart of it. It is a transformative experience that then introduces technology into everything that happens in the school. These early collaborations that happen on day one don't just make an impact on day 100, they last the entire lifetime of the learner. So, to discuss how Jamf is approaching purposeful deployment using a very intentionally designed system, please welcome our Director of Marketing for Education, Matt Pullen.
Thank you. When we introduced purposeful deployment, we had a simple goal: to help IT and curriculum work side by side and make technology seamless in the classroom so schools could work on student outcomes. And we saw results. Processes became simple, connections between IT and curriculum became stronger. But something was still getting in the way. Technology decisions were still being made for IT's convenience rather than classroom needs. And that friction began at the very start, understanding who the student was and what access they needed. Here's the truth. When IT gets what it needs at the very beginning, device choice shifts from what's easiest to manage to what's best for the learner. And that's where identity comes in. Recognizing the needs of the individual is critical to make sure that everybody gets the outcomes they need. And when we recognize that user from day one, it doesn't just unlock an IT problem, it unlocks the purpose for everyone. Teachers suddenly teach without barriers, students learn without any delay. And schools start to focus on what matters most for them. Now, what if I told you that the biggest barrier to successful deployments isn't bandwidth or budget or even training? It's friction. Friction in access, friction in workflow, friction in the simple act of just getting started. Let's take a look at what students go through today, whether on a shared device or a one-to-one iPad. And Eric's going to join me today to go through this demo. Thanks, Eric.
In true JNUC fashion, we're going to do a live demo. We've seen a bunch today, so we're going to start with shared iPad. And as we're familiar, we do that initial login. Now, because we're doing some live cooking here, just know that the screen will go black for a little bit, but the user gets to see that getting ready screen. But in the back end, the device is just doing a quick reset while that profile gets loaded. They get to see their home screen, and eventually they can start their lesson. So here I am on the device, and let's hop into Canvas. And straight away, prompted with the login. So I'll go ahead and get authenticated. So here is my username. I'll log in as Charlotte.
Okay, simple so far, you know, students, logins, everybody loves it, right?
There's the password, so hopefully I remember what that is. Okay, I'm in.
We got there.
So I'm in this one. Lessons proceeding. I've got to hop into another app. Let's try Seesaw. So we'll launch that app, and I bet you can't guess what's going to happen next. I have to log in again. I'm going to spare the typing, even though I'm getting really good at typing today.
So this happens every single time, right? We're in a classroom, 30 students. They're not the most patient things in the world. Every single time they've got to log into something. That's frustration. It's forgotten passwords. It's an IT nightmare. It often results in a non-personalized setup on a device, which then impacts on a security need as well. But what if there was a different way, Eric?
So let's try something different. So I'm going to go to this other shared iPad. And again, I'm going to log in as Charlotte. We're going to have that little blip in video out, but the iPad's getting itself ready. But this time, we're going to know the user and the device. So this time, we'll pop into Canvas. We still have that login button, but remember I said we know the user this time, and we know that it's a managed device. So I'm instantly brought straight away into Canvas. If I hop back out, we can open up Seesaw, and we'll expect to see that same login prompt, but again, with the magic of single sign-on extension, we're able to take that known user, the known device, and instantly log in. No username, no password. This is working on native applications, but maybe we have a web clip. Maybe we're hopping into a portal like Rapid Identity Go or Clever or ClassLink or Wand. Again, no authentication needed because we know the user and the device. And because we're in a shared iPad, we can actually go through and we'll sign out of Charlotte. And we'll have this little blip of video feed. But the next student can grab the device, and this time I'll log in as Alex. Because we've got SSOE working in the background here, the device knows that Alex is just authenticated on the iPad. And so I can go ahead as Alex, launch Canvas. Again, we expect to see that login prompt, but then we pass that username and password credentials straight through. Alex doesn't have to do anything. He's instantly brought into the resources that he needs. And obviously the same thing with Canvas, our web clips, all of the resources that the students need without ever having to type in an additional username and password.
And that's the missing piece. When we secure identity at the very start, IT gets what it needs, educators teach without delay, students learn without disruption. Eric, thank you so much for that demo. Now, this is all powered by SSOE. Just a few commands in the MDM. Authentication is set once, and the device just knows who the user is and what access they need. Just enter PIN, done. This works across web and native applications. For IT, this means fewer help desk tickets, less systems to juggle, and enhanced security. For teachers, lessons start on time, every time. And for students, they just get the access they need when they need it. But let's talk about time. Logging in steals minutes from every single learner in any lesson. That adds up to hours across a week. With SSOE, you get all of that time back. That's hours back for learning. Because small changes in access have big outcomes for learners. When identity is secured at the very start, friction disappears. IT, teaching, and leadership finally speak the same language. Time saved, engagement up, outcomes improved. That's the power of identity. It unlocks the path to purposeful deployment. Now, you can hear more about identity in our breakout session with Eric on Wednesday at 1:45. We do hope that you'll join us for that session. And next, we want to show you the latest updates as we help to continue to help your schools meet your purpose. And to walk us through this, I'd like to welcome Ernout van Beek and Ant Darlow to the stage. We'll get it.
So, thank you, Matt. We've been working hard to deliver some powerful updates that stretch beyond the classroom. Unlocking new SSO flows, bringing seamless identity to the Mac, delivering new privacy options for schools, and extending into homes as well. I would love to show you what's new, but more importantly, what this means for your schools and how these meet the purpose of your deployments. I would like to start with Jamf account, single sign-on, and blueprints. And for those of you that are managing multiple sites or locations, this changes the game. So let's take a look at this from an IT admin's perspective. So here we're logging into Jamf with SSO as an IT admin would. Now, if you're using Jamf accounts, you can federate with your IDP that your other school services are already using, so same credentials. No extra steps, straight to the dashboard, and no remembering of another password. And here we have access to blueprints, pre-built configurations that you can deploy to your groups of managed devices instantly.
Now, you might remember last year, we were excited to announce software updates via Blueprints in Jamf School. And at the time, that was the only component available. But as you can see here, we've grown this list significantly over the last 12 months. And these now include things like math settings that are specific for education, as well as specific OS 26 components that were released prior to the OS being released. That's better than same-day support. Now today, I want to talk to you about one of our most popular additions to Blueprints, and that's software update settings. Now, software updates gives the admin the ability to update the device in a given date and time. Update settings is how this behaves in the meantime. So you can see here that I've got one that I've started to configure already, so why don't we go away and finish that off? And as we do, I want to point out all of the things that we've done in Blueprints to make life easy, simple, and efficient for admins. For example, you can see here each one of these settings has a checkbox next to them. If there is a tick in the box, then that setting gets added to that configuration. If it's not, like this one here, it doesn't get added. We only send the things that you want to send. We no longer send anything by default, which then prevents me as an admin from unintentionally managing something thanks to default keys.
And that's great news for teachers and students in the classroom as well, because IT admins can truly pinpoint what they're wanting to manage without, by accident, disrupting a workflow that your users rely on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't be the only person in this room that's been tripped up in the past by default keys. So this is a really great addition. The next thing I want to show you is what we call a complex key. So something like this install action here. This has multiple components to it itself. Instead of listing them out in this main part here, making things maybe confusing and muddy, we instead go into a sub-menu. Now, as an admin, I know that these keys here are related directly to the install actions.
But we didn't stop there, because if you need to change a setting that's dependent on another, the blueprint will automatically configure that dependency for you. So making light work of complex keys, ensuring that the devices in the classroom just work.
Now, the last thing to point out, and as admins, I'm sure we all know this, sometimes there are settings and lists that go on and on and on, and it can be quite difficult to find what you're looking for. So in Blueprints, we've built in filters. We can filter by OS type, as well as component-specific keywords. So this will look different depending on what you're configuring, but it will get you where you need to very quickly. But if you know exactly where you want to go, you can use the search bar to pinpoint that particular setting. So, for example, if I did want to defer my software updates, I can get there straight away without having to look through potentially hundreds and hundreds of keys in a configuration profile.
And that's a great point, Ant, because if you've ever gone through a configuration profile, and especially the restrictions payload, you know that that list of settings is huge. So that's why we're happy to announce that legacy configuration profiles are coming to Blueprints and Jamf School early in the new year. Now, for admins, we're putting so much time and thought into making Blueprints easy to use, quick and simple. So items like search, filters, complex keys, they will be available for your most used settings. Settings like managing restrictions or AirPlay and more. So your managed devices will receive apps, updates, restrictions, identity configurations, all suited to your school's needs within minutes and not hours. And this is not just a UI change. It changes the way we think about scale for IT. Because for IT admins, it means less manual processes. For school leaders, it means more consistency across the classrooms. And for students, it just works. Now, if you'd like to learn more about Blueprints, please come join us in the Mastering Blueprints in Jamf School session on Thursday. Now, earlier we saw how single sign-on extensions changes the way we're thinking about logging in. But it shouldn't stop there, because if your school is using macOS devices, platform single sign-on unlocks a friction-free experience, and we've made it easier than ever to configure it. Now, with Platform SSO, we ensure that only when accessing the user account does the teacher or student require their password, because for the rest, they're logged in and it's ready.
That's right. For the first time ever, a Jamf School admin can log into the console and natively configure Platform SSO. And now, if you're like me and you already use SSO, to add the platform components is a simple tick box and a few extra drop-down menus. You've actually done the majority of the hard work already.
So it's now very easy to manage and maintain because it's available natively in the console. But, Ant, what does this mean for the user on a Mac?
Yeah, and that's a great question, so why don't we do a bit of that one live, right? You ready for some live cooking? Yes,
Here we go.
So we're going to start on this screen here, and I just want to show you that there is only this local admin account that is configured on this device. Basically, we're proving here, no smoke and mirrors, what we're about to do is completely live. So we get to the login screen here. I'm going to log in as if I'm a student called Alex, using the same credentials as I use for many other of my services. Now, it turns out that I can't talk and type, so bear with me whilst I do this login. And I know that there are some Nordic people in the room, because I've seen them, and maybe they can have a little chuckle at the username there. Okay, so a couple of things I want to point out now that I have successfully put my password in there. First things first, this is the native Apple login window. This is the experience that your students are used to. There's nothing different here. The second thing is, as I pointed out, you might have noticed that username looks a little bit strange. It's not the username that you would normally log into a Mac with, more so one that you would log into a cloud service with, like an email client or cloud storage. And that's because it is. Right? This is the same account that I log into many of my services, and this is Platform SSO at work. Now, in the background, it doesn't look like it's doing much on screen, I appreciate that, but in the background, the device is talking to my IDP, making sure that I am a user and that my credentials are correct. Then it's creating a local account that the username and the account name is matching the attributes in my IDP, as well as then syncing my password locally to that is in the cloud. So that's kind of really the account creation part of SSO, but that's not the end of the story. Because once I'm at the desktop, I will be able to log into my associated apps and websites without having to offer up a password or a username. So for example, if I go to Safari and go to Microsoft 365 as an example, if I click the right button, and then it'll still ask me to click the button to log in, which I'll do. What we should find is that I'm not asked for my username or my password. I am simply just logged in. You can see here, I'm logged in as Alex, which is who I logged in to start off with. So I've gone from never have logged into this machine before to being ready with a purpose in just a matter of moments. Think of how that can empower your students in, say, a media lab. But that's not all. Because with macOS 26, and when IDPs are ready, we support the latest enhancements to Platform SSO, and that is to provision this at Setup Assistant, driven completely by the end user, no IT touchpoint required, so it's great for one-to-one devices.
So that's it, just one login. And the student is authenticated across system services, native apps, web portals. The identity flows with them, securely and consistently. And whether it's a shared Mac in a media lab or it's a one-to-one Mac for creative work, this type of seamless access is what makes learning truly moving. It's fast, it's secure, it's native. Now, let's pivot our discussion to security. Now, at Jamf, our stance has always been very simple and clear. Privacy first. A student deserves to feel safe and protected online without any unnecessary surveillance. However, we are aware that in certain regions, schools have the responsibilities and sometimes even the legal requirements to need to be able to access sensitive data if safety is at stake. So that's why we are bringing limited privacy mode to Jamf Safe Internet, giving the options for those that truly need it the chance to activate it.
Yeah, so as Ernat has pointed out there, our default stance is full privacy. But should you need to move to limited privacy, it's as simple as a click in the console. But it's not a simple decision for schools and for admins. From an admin perspective, you need to have this well planned. It needs some pre-flight checks and a redeployment of Jamf Safe Internet. And if you then choose to move back to balanced or full privacy, those steps need to happen again. This is all to just emphasize the fact that this should be well planned, well considered, and executed only once. You certainly shouldn't be looking to move between privacy modes on a regular basis. Now, if we did activate this as an admin, I can then see device names, usernames, email addresses, and websites visited in device groups, security reports, and new to limited privacy usage reports. So if we enable this and go to a report here, you'll be able to see that I can now filter through my data through categories, sites, and now devices. And as an admin, if I want to pinpoint an event, so I'm going to go back to sites here, I can use the filter, select a given date range and time range, and search for, say, a particular website. In my case, I'm going to go for Spotify. I can now go through this report, drill down, and see the users and the devices that hit these websites. And the username and the device name is pulled through from Jamf School using the UEM sync.
So that's a great addition to our capabilities, meeting the needs of our customers. Now, let's take a look at what happens when the devices go home, because supporting learning doesn't stop at the classroom door. Jamf Parent meets the family purpose because it delivers an easy and secure way to support healthy device usage at home without the need of technical expertise. And we've been working in the background to make sure that the whole process is more secure, giving confidence to our users. The QR code, for example, now refreshes every 15 minutes to stop any unwanted access. So let's have a look. So let's say it's the end of the day and the student device, which is Penelope's device, is at home. So let's open up Jamf Parent app and see how the dad, Ant, can manage Penelope's device at home. But first, Ant, wouldn't it be cool to show everybody how easy it is to link a student's parent device using an iPhone, iPad, or Android device?
Sure, why don't we do it? So I have my iPhone here. I've already been away and downloaded the Jamf Parent app from the App Store. So I'm going to launch that here. It's the first time we've used it, so I'm going to get started. And you can see I have a QR code. So if I go over to Penelope's device and go over to her Jamf student app, you can see there is an authorized parent button there. I simply scan that QR code, enter my name, and everything's all connected.
Now that QR code, that can be switched off at any point. And here we have a new way of seeing which devices are linked now to Penelope's device, and that's both visible in Jamf Parent and in Jamf Student. And once the connection has been established, the first thing you'll notice is the awesome new, clean, and simplified UI.
And it looks great, and it really does simplify things like you've just said. It now gives me a really easy way to limit the apps that are on this device so I can focus Penelope on her homework. For example, I can click on the allowed apps, I choose the apps that I want Penelope to have for her homework, and then I choose the time and hit apply. And within a few moments, Penelope's device will conform to what I've just put here as a parent so that she can focus on her homework. Not only that, though, as a parent, I can pause the internet and I can set downtime windows for Penelope, but not just for homework, for general home use as well. And the best part is, it's all aligned with the school policy.
So it's intuitive, it's empowering, and it's an incredible value add for parental-funded or take-home programs, giving you even more returns to those investments in technology. IT stays in control, the families get peace of mind, and we're all working together to support student well-being. So, from classroom to living room, from iPad to Mac, and even with our approach to privacy, what you've seen here today is one connected story. A platform that empowers IT, builds trust within families, and ensures fast and seamless access for students wherever learning is happening. And you don't have to take our word for it. Please pop over to the demo stations in the expo hall, come talk to the product teams, and see how these new tools can simplify your work and elevate your schools. Thank you. Thank you, Ant. And now I'd like to welcome Matt back to the stage.
Good job. Okay, we are so excited to bring these amazing capabilities to the already capability-rich Jamf for K-12 that's powering successful deployments globally for thousands of customers. We're removing the friction between IT and classrooms, whilst ensuring that management and security are still built with purpose and impact in mind. But we're not stopping here. We're committed to bringing deeper integrations between identity and classroom management, tighter alignment with Apple innovation, and simplified management to have the biggest impact on student outcomes with technology. Because it's not just about secure access. It's about sustainable, simplified management. Because when we reduce the burden on IT, we give them more time back to help students and teachers in the classroom. Now, let's take a look at some powerful tools that are already helping schools get more from their Apple deployments, meaning that devices are set up the way the teacher needs without delays to lessons. Picture this. A teacher is teaching their math lesson. With just a few taps on their iPad or Mac, they have everything set up for the student, just like asking them to turn to page 15 of a textbook. This is not about control. It's about simplified learning with intentional in technology. For the teacher, this means confidence, that lessons will start on time without the need to call IT for any help. And that's the power of Jamf Teacher. It gives educators real-time visibility and simple controls, and more importantly, trust that technology will support and not disrupt their teaching. Now, let's talk about Jamf Class Assigner. Let's think about the start to a school year, a busy time for ITs, admins needing to assign all of those devices to all of those users. Instead of waiting for IT, what if the teacher could simply scan a QR code, though, and have the student scan that QR code? The device then knows exactly who the student is, what resources they need, and what class they're in. For the teacher, this means no more delays, no more interruptions to learning. For IT, it means setup that once took hours, now just takes minutes. That's the story of Class Assigner. Teachers stay in control, IT save time, and students learn faster. Now, when it comes to macOS, this shouldn't be any different. But often, when a teacher or a student grab that device for the very first time, it can be difficult for them to know whether that device is set up and ready to go. Unlike an iPad, a Mac doesn't give you visual feedback. With Setup Manager, though, we have the opportunity for IT admins to pre-configure everything in advance, making sure that Wi-Fi, apps, wallpaper, identity, even class membership is all set up for them. Setup Manager also helps that end user by giving them that visual feedback of what's installed, installing currently, or coming up next, which means when a student or teacher turn on their device for the first time, everyone knows that that device is still setting itself up, and it has everything it needs for them to get going with teaching. Finally, let's talk about App Catalog, built specifically for education. Picture a science teacher wanting to bring their biology lesson to life. Rather than scrolling through endless apps in the App Store, they simply open App Catalog and instantly see a curated list of apps built specifically for their teaching in mind. Better still, those apps come with reviews from other teachers in their district that have talked about how these apps will impact on teaching and learning. For the teacher, this means confidence, knowing that they're choosing tools that will actually make a difference in their subject, and it's not just the latest download. For IT, they maintain their control and visibility. Every request that comes in still aligns with their approvals process. No more guesswork, no more open-ended app chaos. App Catalog shifts the question from which apps are even safe to use to which apps are going to have the most impact on my students. Because when teachers have the right tools faster, students get the results sooner. That's how we take the burden of managing apps and turn it into a real driver of learning. Now, this isn't just about empowering end users. This is all about supporting IT as well. And next, I'm going to bring Suraj back to the stage to show us how this is looking in practice.
I don't know. I think online and live demos are intimidating. How about another round of applause for everything you saw on stage? As you can see, we've been working very hard to take friction out of every element of device deployment and purposeful deployment, starting with identity to management to classroom workflows, and when the devices go home, at-home workflows as well. When you look at the impact it can have, I am amazed to see the positive impact these purposeful deployment approaches have had on not just individuals, but communities. Our Community Education Initiatives team works with visionary leaders in the community as they deploy impactful programs. You probably heard Sam mention the Kinder to Career program on main stage as well. We strongly believe that schools are just platforms for student success, and Jamf is the platform that elevates that experience. So, to talk about our community education initiative opportunities and approaches, please welcome to the stage Tsitsi, Ashley, and Alvin.
Thank you so much, Suraj. At Jamf, we believe technology in education should be more than just managing devices. It should empower every learner from their very first classroom experience to the first day in a career. We call this vision Kinder to Career. Let's take a look at two powerful examples of this vision in action. First up, Tsitsi. Tell us more about the work that's taking place with our younger learners at the Jamf Innovation Hubs.
Sure. In Zimbabwe, Jamf and Meta have partnered with 12 schools, impacting over 2,000 primary and high school students. To support the students' journey, we use tools such as Jamf School, Jamf Teacher, Apple Classroom, Jamf Safe Internet, and the custom-made app catalog. Our Kinder to Career strategy is built off programming at our K-12 sites, with emphasis on engaging and empowering students, which leads to our post-secondary program at the Meta Career Readiness Institute. The students progress through Apple Swift certifications, Jamf certifications, and other computer science fundamental courses. So these are the three key differentiators of our program. We select our students directly from the Jamf Meta Innovation Hubs. This ensures reinforcement and eventually master of skills introduced during primary and high school years. We focus on essential skills such as teamwork, empathy, self-efficacy, time management, just to mention a few. We also work directly with employer partners to build out the curriculum, with emphasis on apprenticeship versus internship. Our curriculum is built around real-world career readiness, which leads directly to jobs. In under 2 years, we have 20 full-time employees hired and 7 students in paid apprenticeship between Jamf and 3 other employer partners. At Jamf, we started off with only 2 employees, one on the Jamf Connect and the other on the Jamf Protect team. To date, we have Jamfs in 7 different teams, including Jamf School, Jamf at Jamf, Customer Support, Content Engineering, and Business Intelligence. We recently received commitments for funding to double the size of the MCRI to 50 students and build out a workforce development center, which will have office space for up to 100 employees from multiple companies. So we do have room for more employer partners.
The result is a clear pathway. Yeah, it's really amazing. And this gives us, the students, first lessons in coding to being career-ready graduates that are empowered and employed. It's truly a great starting point for any learner, and there's a lot that we can learn from this approach around the world. Closer to home, we see the same vision playing out at Mesa Community College in Arizona. Alvin, please tell us more about the impact you've seen with the internship program at Mesa.
Well, actually, nearly half of Mesa's students are first-generation college students, recognizing both the challenge and the opportunity. We partnered with Jamf to provide a 10-week certification program that that blends Jamf Pro, Jamf Protect, and workspace readiness. Students are learning in a dedicated classroom, get hands-on experience, work directly with paid internships and structured apprenticeships. The results of that? Students leave with 3 Jamf certifications, Jamf 170, Jamf 100, and Jamf 200, and additional Apple certifications. Many graduates are already working in the IT field, and the other ones are working in paid internships, getting valuable experience to career readiness. The program is also breaking barriers for underserved communities, providing that high-paying careers in technology don't always have to require a 4-year degree. And it's not stopping there. Mesa's program is now on its 3rd cohort in the last 2 years, expanding and now serving as a template for other institutions, but growth requires partners. Companies willing to offer internships for the Jamf-trained IT interns that are coming through this program.
So, building on the success of the partnership with Jamf at Mesa, what are some ways that other organizations can get involved or support this initiative?
Well, that support happens in 2 ways. First, we have to create space for the program. The Jamf training team has been an invaluable partner in this process, providing the MCC team with all the resources, training materials, and additional support needed to create a successful program for the students. The second is creating that space inside of our infrastructure to allow these students to be successful inside of our institutions. Oftentimes, the education space is a bridge between where we are and the career pathway for readiness. The highlight of this program is for us giving those students an immediate opportunity to apply what they've learned in our program to real-world environments and get that valuable experience, which makes them employable immediately.
I'm excited to see how we can continue to expand this model and replicate its success across other institutions. The collaboration between education and industry is essential. Titi, can you tell us a little bit more about the success of our younger students and what others can do to help get involved and support the success that you've seen?
Sure. So the program is transforming students' futures by equipping them with real-world skills, critical thinking abilities, and hands-on experiences, which are essential for success in today's fast-evolving career landscape. By bridging academic learning with practical application, the program empowers students to take ownership of their future and confidently navigate the demands of today's workforce. Thank you.
These stories are truly amazing. Thank you to these leaders in the community for all that you do to support these initiatives. Together, programs like Matter in Zimbabwe and the internship program at Mesa really show the impact of kinder to career. For young students, it's about building confidence and curiosity. For graduates, it's about taking skills and putting them into a job. For communities, it's about breaking cycles and creating opportunity where it didn't exist before. This is how Jamf empowers every learner across education, not just by managing devices, but by opening doors from the first day of school to the very first day of a career. To learn more about these programs, please come stop by the education booth and the booth theater located in the expo halls. Now, back to Suraj to take us home.
Thank you. Whew. These are stories that really energize our team at Jamf, and I'll keep saying it, it gives everything that we do at Jamf a lot more meaning. We have seen that anything done with purpose doesn't just last one deployment cycle, it really stretches through kinder to career. Now, this is a very exciting week. Let this not be a landing point, but a launch pad. The best ideas often are born out of conversations that you have in hallways, over a Zoom meeting, or at a breakout session that we have. We have so many breakout sessions that we have lined up, and these span all the topics that you heard today, from seamless learning access, to classroom workflows, to at-home workflows, all wrapped up in a really nice bow with customer success stories. Whatever stage you're at, there is a Jamf, there is a peer, or a breakout session that can really help you take that next step. And I encourage you to not just participate in the next few days, I encourage you to collaborate and really connect with each other. Before you go, we have some exciting news. We're bringing the party to a few cities, possibly close to where you are. We are taking Jamf Nation live to 5 new cities, and we are excited to share updates in between JNUCs with you, and I hope to see some of you there. Please bring some of your friends as well. The more we have there, the more we learn. So, as we close, I wanted to say, Elevate is just not the theme of this week. Elevate is what you do. You elevate teaching and learning by simplifying complex things. You elevate your schools by turning devices into doorways. And you elevate your teams by making simple, smart, and sustainable technology choices. So, thank you for everything you do, the confidence you place in Jamf, and the vision you take back to your schools. Let's elevate what's possible together. Thank you.